Did you know that 40% of food in the United States today goes uneaten? That's more than 20 pounds of food per person every month. Considering that 1 in 5 children in the state of Kentucky are food insecure, that amount of food waste is inexcusable. This disparity was the catalyst for a group called Faith Feeds Glean Kentucky to take action to alleviate hunger in the bluegrass through gleaning. To glean is to collect leftover crops from fields or orchards. Last year, they provided almost 144,000 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables to those who are hungry in the Commonwealth.
Today, we join a group of volunteers from Lexmark to learn how to glean at Reed Valley Orchard. We even get to ride along on a food delivery to see just where all this healthy and nutritious food goes. But first, let's go and meet some of the people who are making gleaning a hunger solution. I'm here with Rachel Hollers, and she is the fundraising coordinator at Glean Kentucky. Tell me a little bit about Glean. I mean, what you guys are doing is pretty amazing.
It is amazing. Well, really, it's a very simple idea. What we do is we take a source of food, like a farm, an orchard, supermarket, that has excess food, and then we send out volunteers to go get it. And then once the volunteers collect the food or pick up the food, then they go and deliver it to hunger programs.
The statistics that I've been reading about the food unstable in Kentucky and our community is really alarming.
It is. Most people don't realize that about 1 in 6 across Kentucky are hungry, and that's 1 in 5 children. And just for Fayette County alone, that's over 44,000 people.
And they don't know where their next meal is coming from. And
right, that's exactly what we mean by food insecurity, is that they don't know where their next meal is coming from. So it's really a lot more than most people think.
Well, and I think what's so great about this program is you're feeding them nutritious foods. I mean, these are local, fruits and vegetables, things that I guess they really don't get enough of if they're on kind of other food programs, right?
They really don't. We work with over 52 organizations in Lexington, and we have so much feedback from them saying that, before we started partnering with them, that they were getting bologna sandwiches and chips. A lot of the pantry services, you get macaroni and cheese, rice, pasta, that kind of thing, which is certainly better than not eating at all, but is definitely not a way to be healthy. And especially for children, it makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Well, and it is amazing that someone hasn't done it before, because kind of everyone wins. I mean, there's people that get to volunteer and do something for the greater good of someone else. There are the farmers that get to have their orchards gleaned and get that service, and then there are people that are hungry that get to eat nutritious food.
Definitely. And this food, I mean, everything that we glean is something that without our intervention would literally just either rot in the ground or get thrown away. So it's not taking away from anybody else. It is really just using something that's already there.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm excited to get out here and learn about Reed Valley Orchard, but also learn how to glean.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of fun.
Faith Feeds Glean Kentucky relies on their gleaning partners to reach their goal of providing fresh, nourishing food to the hungry. The produce comes from the generous support of local farmers and grocers. Places like Lexington Farmers Market, University of Kentucky College of Agriculture, Good Foods Co-op, and Food Chain all donate to the cause. Reed Valley Orchard is also among that list and is located in a quaint country setting about halfway between Cynthiana and Paris, Kentucky.
I'm here with Dana and Trudy Reed at Reed Valley Orchard, and this is a great, quaint orchard you have here. And tell me a little bit about working with Glean Kentucky.
Glean Kentucky, which we know as Faith Feeds, has been coming here for several years, and they have just been a godsend to us, picking up the fruit, which doesn't go to waste that way, because we don't pick up fruit off the ground, so we allow them to pick it up. And that is very important to us, to be able to feed the community that way.
That's right. Well, it's kind of a two-part service. It helps you because it's got to probably come up anyway, and so they get to come in and kind of clean that off, and yet it's being, donated as such a great cause.
Correct. It is total donation. They don't charge for what they pick up, and we don't charge them for picking it up. So that's a good thing for both of us.
Yeah, that's a great system that they've got there. And you've got a great country shop here.
Thank you.
And you've got a lot of varieties of produce. Tell me about that.
In season right now, we have pumpkins, apples, cushaws, gourds. We also grow blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, cherries, peaches,
Wow, just a few things, right?
Yeah, just a few.
Well, you do take the apples and make other things like jams and pies and things like that?
Correct. We're making apple butter today. Also, she's doing pumpkin bread right now. The pumpkin is grown here on the farm. All the fruits that we use in our line is all grown and picked and sold here.
Well, it must be a wonderful product, because if you're getting something that fresh off the farm and then cooking with it immediately, I'm sure you can taste the difference.
Absolutely.
Well, I understand you're going to be dipping some caramel apples, and I might get to try my hand at that.
Sure. Miss Laura will be glad to help you in there.
Great, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Over 82,000 pounds has been gleaned from Reed Valley Orchard over the years. And when we come back, we add to that growing number by learning how to glean with Lexmark volunteers. It's all coming up next. Today, we're gleaning at Reed Valley Orchard with Faith Feeds Glean Kentucky, a nonprofit company which gives fresh local produce to the hungry through the use of volunteers. Although there are a myriad of ways to get involved, such as financial donations and picking up produce from grocers and farmers markets, gleaning at an orchard is also an option. It's possible to glean thousands of pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables in just one outing, and it's perfect for a group of volunteers.
I'm here with Sherry Fleck, and she is Lexmark's United Way campaign chair. And you guys are out here, a big group volunteering here at Reed Valley Orchard. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, every year Lexmark, in our partnership with United Way, tries to find opportunities for what we call care days, where we partner with the different agencies throughout our communities to try to see what we can do to give back. And this is one of the opportunities that gives us a chance to give back with our time.
Well, and I'm sure it must change the way you think about kind of food and the hungry and things like that, being able to actively do something where you're, you know, providing really nutritious local produce.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think we can easily take for granted how easy it is for us to go to the grocery and have that shining produce ready for us to take home. And, you know, it's important that everyone has the opportunity to have that local nutritional produce available to them.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to get out there and roll up my sleeves, and maybe we can pick up some apples together.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Today's haul of 2,268 pounds will be divided up and taken to several emergency food agencies, like the Catholic Action Center and Lighthouse Ministries. 1,482 pounds of that will be taken to God's Pantry Food Bank, which is a member of the nation's largest non-governmental domestic hunger relief organization, Feeding America. The Lexmark volunteers are in charge of this delivery, and we get to tag along.
I'm here with Rebecca Wallace, and she is the Development Director at God's Pantry and Food Bank. Tell me a little bit about this organization.
Well, we've been around for almost 60 years, and our goal is to reduce hunger in Kentucky. And we do that through community cooperation. And so, you know, this is a wonderful example of community cooperation. But we distribute food to nearly 400 small nonprofits throughout 50 counties of central and eastern Kentucky. Which is about 16,000 square miles of pretty much the eastern half of the state of Kentucky. And so we distribute food to those organizations who are then distributing it to people right there in the local communities who are in need, families who are food insecure.
Well, and I know you've got a huge warehouse with lots of shelf-stable foods as we were walking through, but I know one of the neat things that Faith Feeds does is they offer fresh produce.
Yes, fresh produce is the best possible food that we can offer to folks. And for years, food banks across the country shied away from fresh produce because it's not shelf stable, it's logistically difficult to manage. But the decision was made several years ago that it's important because we play a big role in the nutrition, not just filling bellies, but really affecting the nutrition of the people we serve. And so about 10 years ago, we really started putting an effort toward putting more fresh produce out there. And with our partnership with Faith Feeds, they're getting produce that's local. I mean, some of the fruits and vegetables that they brought in have no more than 10 or 15 food miles on them. So it's a great partnership to boost the amount of fresh produce we're giving out.
Sure. Well, and I'm sure it's really rewarding to see children come in and you know that you're feeding them with great nutritious food.
Yes, it is. And we hear from families sometimes who talk about how excited their kids were. I love it when we hear from mothers who tell us that their kid would much rather have that fresh apple than a bag of chips. And we do hear that, and we love that because that's important.
Sure. Well, tell me a little bit about your partnership with Faith Feeds and just kind of how that's changed things for you all.
Well, you know, we've started hearing years ago about how much fresh produce gets turned under. A lot of times farmers will only harvest what they're able to sell. So this is just one of the ways that we're able to get food out of the fields and onto the plates of hungry Kentuckians. The reality in America is that there is enough food for every single person who lives here. It's access to that food, and access to the best food is often the barrier for the families we serve. So for Faith Feeds to go out and glean this food through the use of many, many volunteers who are literally getting dirty and muddy and picking food off trees and vines, for them to go get that food is just another access point for us to get huge quantities of food that we're then able to distribute out to our member agencies and the families they're serving. So it's a wonderful partnership. In the first 3 years of their existence, they brought over 150,000 pounds of fresh produce for us to be able to distribute.
Wow, that's wonderful. Well, I'm excited to take a look around your operation and see some of these warehouses.
There are so many ways to help those who are hungry have access to fresh, local, nutritious food. In addition to volunteering to glean, you can also partner with an emergency food agency or hunger relief organization. Another way to help is by donating to Faith Feeds Glean Kentucky at the Good Giving Guide Challenge, which is an online charitable giving campaign running this year from November 3rd to December 12th. $100 provides 1,600 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables to Kentucky's hungry.
No matter which way you choose to get involved, you'll join a community of people who are dedicated to making a difference in the fight against hunger. Make sure and add volunteering or donating to your local travelers list.